23-year-old mother, healthy, and she should have returned to her family that same way. But it's the conditions at the Jackson County Jail, their failure to get her proper medical care, and we're still left with law enforcement not letting this family know what happened to TaNeasha. And that's what we're going to find out, and that's what we all deserve to find out. But most importantly, that's what the family deserves to find out.
23-year-old TaNeasha Chappell from Louisville, Kentucky, was an inmate at the Jackson County Jail after being arrested on shoplifting charges on May 26. On Friday, July 16th, she was taken by ambulance to Sheknik Medical Hospital in Seymour, where she died later that day.
To the hospital?
I'm throwing up.
You're throwing up?
Yes, I left it in the toilet so y'all can see. This is my second time. I overlooked it today, the first time, but it's happening again. I need one of the guards to come back here, please. Please. Need help.
What do you need help with?
My stomach.
What?
My stomach.
What?
My stomach.
With your what? Your stomach?
Yes.
I mean, I don't know what you want me to do unless you're coughing up something crazy.
Chappell spent the night throwing up, was told the nurse would see her in the morning. This call at 9:55 a.m. Other inmates called too.
Do something.
What's up?
Do you not see that we got a naked lady on the floor here?
If she needs something, she'll have to hit the button.
Despite the begging her condition and telling them at least 5 times about the blood, Chappell is dismissed.
This is just making it seem that you're faking it. So if you're not going to get up and get dressed, we're going to leave you alone. And you can sit there and just suffer.
This last call she makes, asking for a bit of empathy.
After 18 hours of being in constant pain, the jail called for an ambulance to take Chappell to the hospital. The ambulance arrived at 3:26. According to the ambulance workers, her eyes and part of her chest were yellow. She was naked and could only moan to respond. The ambulance left the jail at 3:36 p.m., the record stated. Chappell was handcuffed during the ride and complained of abdominal pain the entire time. The ambulance arrived at Sheknik Medical Center, which was almost 11 miles away, and 16 minutes later. According to Chappell's attorney, the EMS workers did not turn their lights or sirens on while taking Chappell to the hospital. Once they arrived, nurses put Chappell on the IV and ordered lab work. Shortly after, her pulse started to elevate. At 4:35 p.m., they noticed she had shallow breathing and was unresponsive. Chappell went into cardiac arrest and the staff began giving her CPR. When the doctor arrived at her room at 4:50 p.m., Chappell was intubated. She was stabilized, but only for a moment. By 5:30 p.m., her blood pressure reached critical levels. 2 minutes later, she passed away. Doctors stated she was anemic, had gone into cardiac arrest, and had metabolic acidosis, a condition where there is too much acid in a person's system.
TaNeasha Chappell, she was funny, loud, she didn't back down, she had a big personality.
Anisha Morrell says her sister meant the world to them.
It is unsettling. We want justice, we want answers. We have a lot of questions and no answers still.
Answers into her death, which Indiana State Police say happened shortly after she was transported from the Jackson County Jail to Sheknik Memorial Hospital July 16th. Chappell was arrested in May on shoplifting and other charges and held on a $4,000 bond.
My baby died in jail. In jail. I don't know, I feel like I failed. I don't know. Because I didn't have the money to get her out.
Chappell's mother and father, torn, have speculations about what happened. Families say she was in good health, and Chappell told them she was having problems with other inmates.
But I think it was some foul play involved in it, you know, because she was up there with all them. She was the only black girl in the jail.
But she called numerous of times, over and over, they gonna kill me, get me out of here.
Morell explained how family was so important to Chappell. She relied on them for support through the apparent nightmare.
So many people in Louisville knew who she was. They knew her, if not by TaNeasha, they knew her by Big Joint, B Jizzle, Bug. She has a daughter named Nevaeh. She's 10. And she was just so much life.
The family hopes the detectives who've been in contact with them will plug in the many holes in the investigation.
My mama hasn't even verified the body. Why hasn't she been able to verify the body? Just to
Right.
look,
This
pull
your
back the
child?
sheet and look, is this your child? Nothing. And they won't give us any answers.
This letter was allegedly written by an inmate. It says, Sylvia, Terry, Amanda Burton. They used Kimberly Rawls to spike her stuff with cleaner. Because Kim was Bunky's BJ up till BJ started getting sick. Then Kim moved out of her room. They put Kim up to contaminating her pop, pickle juice, and food. They said they never meant to harm her, just wanted to make her sick, so they would take her out of the pod. This was information from one of the inmates.
The doctors found she didn't have any drugs in her system, but there are other substances the hospital doesn't look for. The medical staff making a note about a concern over 2 toxic chemicals.
Nobody's child go behind the jail cell and not come out.
A new medical report obtained by Way Through News state doctors were concerned about a possible poisoning.
It's very upsetting. I think about if that were my child in there and how I would feel about that.
According to the documents, jail staff admitted she'd been throwing up since the night before, but they didn't call an ambulance until 3 in the afternoon the next day. Doctors write they're concerned about a possible poisoning by ethylene glycol or methadone. According to the National Institutes of Health, both are extremely toxic to humans and can cause death. Both are found in household products like antifreeze. Only the toxicology report, which hasn't been completed yet, will confirm the truth, the only solace Chappell's family has left.
According to court documents, the jail has a binder available to staff, which includes protocol for managing different medical emergencies. Protocol states if an inmate is vomiting blood, a physician needs to be contacted immediately. One correctional officer reported that he saw blood and reported it to his sergeant. It was stated once the incident was reported to the sergeant should have called an ambulance. Later that morning, the jail nurse met TaNeasha in her cell. By around 8:45 a.m., he learned that she had bleeding stomach ulcers. It was also stated every inmate is required to receive a comprehensive medical assessment within the first 14 days in jail. Chappell never received one. Because of this, the jail nurse and staff were unaware of her medical history. TaNeasha's family has filed a $30 million civil suit. As of 2023, no one has been arrested in connection to TaNeasha's death. Let's please keep her family and friends in our prayers, and let's pray that justice is served. She also has a daughter that needs justice. So as I said, please keep her in your prayers, and let's all pray for justice.